Good morning and welcome to Frederick at its best. I'm Frederick County Executive Jan Gardner, and we're here today to recognize National Preparedness Month, which we celebrate traditionally every September. And it's important to remember that being prepared is about being prepared at your home, at your business, and it's everyone's responsibility to make sure that they are prepared both where they work and at their business. And I know when my children were growing up, when they were in school, I certainly had a discussion about, preparedness when they were not at home and what they should do in case of an emergency. So I think it's our responsibility as individuals to make sure that we're prepared, that we pay attention to our neighbors who may need assistance, and that after we make sure that our own family is taken care of, that we take care of those people around us. So we're going to hear today from a number of our partners who are joining us, who are from emergency preparedness, who are from fire and police and animal control and the health department and the Red Cross, and all the people that we know who are out there at the ready to help us in case there is an emergency. So with that, I'll read the proclamation. Whereas National Preparedness Month is an opportunity to raise awareness about the importance of emergency preparedness and to encourage all Americans to better prepare their homes and communities for emergencies. And whereas protecting America's homeland and citizens is the shared responsibility of the entire nation, individuals can prepare themselves and their families for emergencies by taking simple steps such as organizing an emergency supply kit, making a personal preparedness plan, becoming informed about different threats, and getting involved in preparing their community. These activities create a culture of preparedness and can help save lives. And whereas this month is also an opportunity to pay tribute to America's first responders who put themselves at risk for the safety of their fellow citizens. These brave police officers, firefighters, and emergency service personnel exemplify the compassion and commitment that help strengthen our country. We will forever be grateful for their service and their sacrifice. During National Preparedness Month, we encourage all Americans to get involved in their community's preparedness efforts. Citizens can visit www.frederickcountymd.gov/ready, which is the county's webpage, to learn more about emergency preparedness and ways to take action. So now, therefore, as the County Executive of Frederick County, Maryland, I hereby proclaim September 2015 as Preparedness Month in Frederick County and commend this observance to all of our citizens. So with that, I'll let the people who are joining with me add a few words and introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Seamus.
Thank you. Seamus Mooney, Director of Emergency Preparedness. First, I'd like to thank all of the partner organizations here. This is definitely, as Jan mentioned, a team effort, and we couldn't do it without all of you, so thank you all for your commitment to emergency management and emergency preparedness. And then to the citizens at home, just encourage you to think about how an emergency would impact you and your family and to start making plans and put a kit together to alleviate those impacts on your family. Also, we have an alert system, Alert Frederick County, that you can sign up through the county's website to better stay informed. So thank you.
Wayne Creddick, Mayor for the town of Myersville and the municipal representative on Frederick County's Emergency Management Policy Advisory Committee. I want to thank you, Executive, for inviting us here today. I just want to read this brief message and share with our community. With today's proclamation acknowledging this month of September as National Preparedness Month, I want to emphasize the importance and need for the citizens of Frederick County to be prepared and self-reliant. While the preparedness message is repeated each year at this time, public preparedness efforts continue to be ignored or lost, with several polls revealing many Americans lack emergency supplies like basic first aid kits or a 3-day supply of non-perishable food and water. Many Americans also continue to believe they can rely on local government and authorities to come to their rescue when disaster strikes. Let me be clear, our county and municipal leaders, our county and municipal law enforcement personnel, our county career and volunteer fire and rescue personnel are all planning, training, and preparing for the types of natural and or man-made disaster events that could befall our communities. However, I want to strongly emphasize the need for the citizens of Frederick County, our communities, and our private business enterprises to be prepared and self-reliant. most importantly in the first 72 hours after a disaster. Today's proclamation is again to focus the public's attention, your attention, on emergency preparedness before a disaster occurs. I would encourage individuals to follow the ready.gov suggestions and be informed, learn what protective measures to take before, during, and after an emergency, make a plan, prepare, plan, and stay informed for emergencies, build a kit for disasters to be prepared that is specific to you and your family's needs, and get involved. Find opportunities to support community preparedness and get the whole family engaged and ready. Don't wait, communicate, and please make your personal emergency plan today. This month, throughout the month in the town of Myersville, I will be going door to door and handing my citizens a package of information to help them be prepared now and in the future. So I look forward to seeing you, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm Rick Little with Information Technologies, and during this time of the year and every time of the year, our team is working to ensure that when the first responders need a computer system, it's available for them at that urgent time.
I'm Scott Pierce, Frederick County's Chief Information Security Officer.
Officer Stephanie Sparks from the Frederick City Police, the Emergency Planning Officer. We work very closely with Frederick County in emergency planning.
Nick Geyer with the American Red Cross.
Ed Hargis, the Chief of Police for Frederick City, and I just want to encourage our citizens to prepare now for any type of disaster and help out your public safety team by having the necessary preparations to make it through it.
Bruce Degrange, I'm the commander of the Professional Services Division of the Frederick Police Department. I'd just like to thank our strong partnership with all the folks involved in the Frederick City and County area in working on our emergency preparedness.
Bob Densmore, Transit Services of Frederick County, taking care of the travel needs of citizens of Frederick County.
Linda Shay, Division Director for the Frederick County Division of Animal Control. Just want to remind our citizens that responsible pet ownership includes preparing for your pets as well as your family members. You want to make sure that you put together a kit with your pet's foods, medication, and other essentials such as leashes, harnesses, and carriers. You want to keep your pet's medical records, especially proof of a current rabies vaccine, in a waterproof container. Include a recent photo of your pet with his or her age, breed, and any distinguishing marks. Give consideration to having your pet microchipped to provide them permanent identification. You also want to think about having a temporary caregiver for your pet in the event that you can't get home during an emergency. And for more information on how to be a prepared pet owner, contact the Frederick County Division of Animal Control.
Good morning, Dave Martin. I'm captain in the Sheriff's Office Homeland Security Section, and I wanted to thank all the partners up here, many of us who've worked together for almost 15 years now on the preparedness side.
Lieutenant Wayne Walksmith, Bear Commander for the Maryland State Police, and one of the things that the Maryland State Police is doing this year is we're providing alert training, which is active shooter training. We have instructors and a curriculum that we provide for commercial businesses. All they have to do is just contact us and we'll put them in touch with an instructor.
I'm Chief Tom Owens, Director of Fire Rescue Services for Frederick County, and I think what's important for our citizens to understand is really a collective message here, and that is very simply that you are the person most responsible for your safety and the safety of your family, and it begins with preparedness. Whether we are talking about your family needing to be prepared to react to a major countywide emergency or as simple as day-to-day threats such as home fires, and medical emergencies, making sure that you have a working smoke detector, knowing CPR to help your family members and those in your community. Very simple things can make a big difference in time of crisis, and we certainly encourage you to look at all the resources that are available and take advantage of what is out there to help you better prepare your family.
Cliff Cornwell, Supervisor of Security and Emergency Management with FCPS. Again, I'd like to thank all our partners. We work closely together to make sure that we are prepared to respond. But I would also emphasize the family plan at home and mostly the communication plan. If you have a plan already, please update that plan. Think about the changes in schedules as kids return to school, and think about how you would contact each other if someone was away maybe at work, somebody was at school. Do you have a local area near your home, an area outside of that neighborhood? And do you have a phone number that you can utilize for a relative or a friend out of state during an emergency? They can often pass on those messages.
Barbara Rosvold from the Frederick County Health Department, and I would just like to encourage all of our citizens when they're making their emergency plans to think about their health needs and their family's health needs. If possible, include some extra medication in your plan, and please include a list of current medications for yourself and your family, and also any allergies that you or your family may have. And being prepared also is part of being a good neighbor. So I would encourage everyone to look around their neighborhood, see if there's someone who might be confined to their home, might have some medical issue that would make it difficult for them to make it through an emergency, and reach out to them. Being a good neighbor is something that Frederick County is known for, and I would ask our citizens to extend that to preparedness as well.
Chuck Knight, Frederick County DPW. I'd first like to thank the citizens for the input they give Public Works and the rest of our partners. If it's as simply as seeing that a tree may be getting a little too close to a power line or a sinkhole's developed, ultimately we'd like to avoid emergencies in addition to respond to them. I'd like to thank the county executive for recognizing our efforts for emergency preparedness, and also all of our partners up here that we rely on heavily. Thank you.
Good morning, Chuck Jenkins, Frederick County Sheriff. I know there's a lot been said here this morning, but again, I think the public should recognize the collective effort that we put into this here in Frederick County, the agencies that have worked together for well over a decade during my tenure as sheriff. And there's not a time that I go out in this community that I don't talk about emergency preparedness in your homes, in your businesses, and I stress that more than ever now. So whether it be a public safety event, some type of terrorist threat, natural disaster, it's incumbent on you, the family, the homeowner, the business to be prepared, because you know what we can provide is limited for any given period of time. So again, thank you, Executive Gardner, all the other partner agencies. I think in Frederick County we're second to none. So thank you.
Sgt Murkland, Frederick County Sheriff's Office. I guess the one piece left, we talk about preparedness. We also have the prevention aspect, and our law enforcement partners up here, want that information that may lead to preventing something happening as well, regardless of whether it may be a large emergency or even things that may lead to any sort of harm to members of the community. So that becomes part of our preparedness as well.
All right, I want to thank everybody for being here today to represent your respective departments and agencies. After September 11th, the county really stepped up its local emergency planning efforts. And in fact, it was in that year that we first hired one person and created the Department of Emergency Management. And I think we're very fortunate in Frederick County to have a lot of agencies that work very well together and communicate seamlessly and are very well prepared and practice every year under certain incidences to make sure that they are prepared. But again, I think we all need to stress that emergency preparedness does begin at home with each one of us. I know that when my children were little, and many people did this, we all practiced fire escape routes and being prepared for a fire. And now that expands to being prepared for an emergency, whether it's a natural disaster or a human-made disaster. So I always tell people you need to make sure your cell phones are charged, and you need to make sure your car has gas, and you need to make sure that you have a battery-powered radio so that you can hear instructions from others and follow them in case of an emergency. So it's very important for people to think about preparing themselves at home, at their place of work, and to make sure their children are prepared so when they're in school, they know what the expectation of their parents are, which is to follow the direction of the school system. And if they're released from school, what they should do after that. And I will add to this prevention, which was mentioned. We all know we shouldn't text and drive and talk and drive. I also tell my children, including my daughter who runs 5 miles a day, take the earbuds out, be aware of what's happening around you so that you can respond to something that happens around you. So it's important for everybody to be aware, to report anything they see that they think is unusual and to make sure they're prepared at home. All these people are here to help the citizens of Frederick County. They do an outstanding job. We have wonderful first responders in the city of Frederick and in the county, and I'm very proud of them. So do your part, be prepared, and thank you for joining us for this proclamation in September.